Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy here. Today is the 20th of March. 20th of March already. In a few days, we're going to have a new quarter, and hopefully that quarter will treat us way better than this quarter, because this quarter was just shit. It was a very difficult quarter to trade. Honestly, back in November, December, I anticipated that I'm going to make a lot of trades, but the fact is I haven't traded more than six times this year alone, because the opportunities weren't there. And if there's nothing to trade, I do not force trades, because I believe that's one of the reasons. It could be number one reason for many why people are losing money. Knowing when you not your trade is going to save you a lot of money. So this chart you're seeing here is my base scenario, my base case. And what is it saying? It's actually saying a few things. One, the secular trend is an uptrend, obviously. We cannot argue about that. Secondly, I believe Bitcoin is doing what Bitcoin should do, and that's making corrections, pushbacks, while still continues its strong primary uptrend. And also it tells me that from the cycle low to the next cycle low, Bitcoin needs more or less 1,400 days to go from cycle low to cycle low, and 1,060 days to travel all the way from the cycle low to the cycle high. I know there are a few reasons to debunk this 4-year cycle. There are a few reasons to say so. I admit this environment is very different with the spot ETFs, with companies buying Bitcoin. This cycle is different. I will admit that. And yet, this is my base case scenario until proven otherwise. In this scenario, I do foresee a potential top here around October, November. It could be even December. Bitcoin, as you guys know, has a tendency to range, right? But the explosive movements are happening when everything is going vertical, right? We only need really 1, 2, 3 weekly candles to get back here to this range high. With that said, and since I'm sharing this chart, let me go like this. What do you see here? There are a few things you're seeing here. By the way, the red line is the 21 EMA. One thing is we had the cycle low, and after the cycle low, every range was actually a continuation pattern. As you guys can see here, and here, and here, and even here. This time is different, because this price action is very much different from here and here and here, because this time we saw a breakdown. Is this the end? I wouldn't per se say so. Normally, one could argue that buying below the 21 EMA in a dominant primary uptrend is actually more a entry than an exit, as it was proven here and here and here. But what I'm seeing here is that this breakdown could lead to an expansion of this range. So instead of this, it could morph into something like this. And it could even go lower, right? It could even touch 68K by a wick, with a wick. Nobody knows, but this is my scenario right now. This is just an extension of the rectangle, just like we have seen here actually. This here was a range, and then what happened? It broke down. Everyone got nervous. But what it actually did was it expanded the range and continued ranging for a longer time. We might see something similar. And if that's the case, then we might have a very nice Q2, especially for alts, as Bitcoin is going up it creates a relief rally for many altcoins. My ideal scenario here on the weekly is to see Bitcoin reclaiming the 21 EMA and getting here above that mid level, or actually, or better said, back into the previous range, right? Like this, back into this previous range. For those who are having eye issues or wearing glasses, I'm referring to this range. So on the daily, what do we see here? On the daily, and now let's plot the 200 MA, which I believe is quite leading here. We're seeing here some whipsawing around the 200 MA, and that should be familiar to many of you because Bitcoin did the same thing here and the same thing here. Ideally, it doesn't do a lot of whipsawing here and it quickly enters this range again. That would be the ideal scenario. There is a very strong downtrend also on the RSI, which basically tells us the momentum is really fading away. It's dying, but recently, since this low here on the RSI, we could argue that the RSI is making higher lows here, but it hasn't really making strong higher highs. So ideally, I want to see the RSI breaking up, crossing through this trend line, crossing through the 50 level. If that happens, likely the bottom is in, and we're going to re-enter this range here. And that would be a fantastic time for Q4, for the next quarter, for Q2. Also, we have here a bullish divergence. I believe this is the second or the third bullish divergence since the cycle low that comes from a oversold area. And often those type of divergences are very strong, and they do have a strong predictive power. But for now, there is a downtrend here on the RSI, so I'm not going to rely too much on this bullish divergence, although I believe it's a confirmed bullish divergence for me to continue believing that this bullish divergence will hasn't yet fully played out. I want to see a cross above the 50 level, and of course reclaiming the 200 MA if I haven't mentioned that already. This is Bitcoin, but then from another perspective, plotted here a few levels. The March open, this obvious key SNR level, and the yearly open at 200 MA. The RSI in this situation is, on this chart, is less relevant. Look, a few days ago, I mentioned that reclaim of the March open is a good buying opportunity. See this candle here? It hasn't really filled the previous candle. The day is not over yet, but I would love to see a reclaim here around the 200 MA and the March open. They're basically around the same level-ish. So there's just a small deviation between them. If that happens, I believe the path of least resistance is to this key SNR level. So 91.2K-ish is would be the next target I would aim if the market is going to give me an entry. If we're gonna zoom in a little bit on the 4-hour chart. Oh, what do we see here on the 4-hour chart? Every 4-hour candle, every 4-hour session was actually -1, right? This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So it hasn't even, printed a bullish or a positive or a green or a white, for that matter, candle. But the day is not over yet, right? So if something like this happens, I would love to buy and would assume that it reclaimed the March open and aiming for here. And I believe the risk reward ratio is very favorable. And it could print a 6-7 R trade. But the condition is, of course, this needs to be reclaimed, right? Because if it's not going to be reclaimed, I'm pretty sure it will take out these lows here. So for now, I've already set my alerts, waiting, happy to buy the March open reclaim. If not, we're gonna sit out and see what happens next. We can quickly check Ethereum. Look, where's all that excitement and euphoria from yesterday, right? It's down. It has been killed by this simple candle here. Bum. By the way, if you haven't smashed that like button, now it's your time to smash that like button, leave a comment, and if there's any chart request, let me know. Happy to take some chart requests next time. Look, this chart on the weekly 3-day high time frame is very, very simple. Look, this gray box represents a major SNR level, period. We are now trading below this SNR level. This has the look of a what? Of a bearish retest. If you go to the daily, this doesn't look very good. I would be very concerned if it stays a long time below this level. I mean, if it's hovering around this SNR level, just like this, you know, at resistance, I'm okay with that. But if it goes down, that would be very problematic for Ethereum. This is Ethereum against Bitcoin. Look, this is still in a downtrend. I mean, this is a parabolic downtrend. Look how strong this is. But this is also a level where one could assume that things could reverse. But again, it's sitting maybe on a support level, but still downtrend is a more relevant piece of information and data point than this support level. I might change my thoughts if the RSI, and this is another trick I'm happy to share with you, is if it can reclaim or cross through the 30 level, right? Like this. Where's my brush? This, like this very ugly squiggly line. I'm so bad in drawing lines with a brush. Then I would say, this is very interesting to buy Ethereum right now, but it hasn't happened. So I'm not having that thesis yet. It's not my approach. It will be my approach if it happens. I mean, I'm not going to fake this very strong downtrend. I want to see some strength kicking in and ideally seeing Ethereum escaping from this parabola line. With that said, I think we covered everything. That's my Bitcoin, my thoughts on Bitcoin in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you haven't smashed that like button, now it's your turn. Subscribe, share this with your friends. If you have any chart requests, let me know. God bless, and see you guys the next time.